If you are an older sibling, come to the front, please. Come to the front. This video is for you. Especially if you are the oldest child and you grew up in a single parent home, whether that was just a man or a woman, whatever the case may be. And not only was your parent a single parent, but they were also you grew up in the system. Not in the system, so to speak. You grew up on benefits. Grew up with benefits most of your life. SNAP, TANF, WIC, those sort of scenarios. Well, I am one of those children. I don't know why I yell when I do these videos. I'm one of those children who was the oldest in my household out of my siblings. Grew up in a single parent home, and my mother was, we were on SNAP, WIC, all that for our entire life. Up until this day, I'll put my business out there. I am still seeking support from the government. And one of the toughest things for me was finding direction in my life. Now, I had a goal back in the 8th grade of pursuing the medical field. So I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to go into the medical field. I wanted to go to school to be a nurse. I was in a program, I think, during the 8th grade to be a personal care assistant. I was well on my way to go into that career. That's what I wanted. Until I reached high school, and the class that I wanted, the nursing class that I wanted, was full, over full. I mean, I wasn't even on the wait list because I had started to apply to high schools too late, which my mom had put on my shoulders, and she didn't do that for me. So I had already been accepted into 2 colleges. Not into colleges. I was already accepted into 2 high schools. Both high schools, I was accepted into the honors classes for both schools. But these were not vocational schools. These were just regular schools where you're taking your English, math, all of that. But you were also taking a language class. So you could take Spanish, French, whatever the case may be. I chose not to want to go to those high schools because back then I was super scary. I didn't have a lot of close friends, and I was just really afraid of going to a school that people deemed to be kind of violent and dangerous. And I was like, I'm not going there. You know what I mean? I ain't got nobody to protect me. I'm not doing that. So I chose not to go. The collegiate academy school that I wanted to get into, I was 2 points shy. I think you had to have a 370. I had a 368. I was 2 points shy of getting into that school. Every lesson, everything's a blessing, right? Everything's a blessing. Everything happens for a reason. Well, I was like, I'm not going to those 2 schools, and I didn't get into this one. So we're going to this school. I told my mom, we need to go to the school and apply. Now, we're a day late or something like that. So we go in, I think, the second day of school, and practically begging them, what is it that I can do? How, what can I do? What classes? First of all, I want to go into nursing. That's what I told them. I was like, I want to go into nursing. Is that possible? They said, well, the classes are too full. You're going to have to go into pick another class. There was electronics, electricity, mechanical engineering, welding. There were all those type of classes, and male-dominated classes. And I just thought to myself, I was aggravated for sure. I was pretty upset, but I was like, I'm super good at math. Put me in the electronics class. That was a class that was not as hands-on as the electricity class, and required a lot of math. And I was really good at math. So I decided to go into the math class. Well, I get into this class, it's male dominated. I spent 4 years taking this class. I spent 4 years taking electronics in high school. It wasn't terrible, you know what I mean? It wasn't a terrible class. I did pretty decent, but like I said, I was in a male-dominated class. I was pretty back then. Not to say I'm not anymore, but I was attractive. And, you know, the focus was a lot more on my looks than what was up here. Okay? And because of how I grew up, I seeked all of the attention that I was getting, right? And so I cared more about the attention than I cared about my classes, unfortunately. So I got distracted. I got into a decent amount of trouble, suspensions and detentions and all this extra shit that should have never happened. Like, I was not that type of student, but I just wanted to look cool, and I got a lot of attention. So anyways, fast forward, I graduate from high school and I go into college, Penn State Barron, and I decided to do electrical engineering. I'm like, I did 4 years here. Like, I was always very practical. I'm like, I did 4 years of college doing this. 4 years of high school doing electronics. I might as well just go into college and do electrical engineering. My teacher was like, you're pretty good. I did Skills USA. I ended up second in the competition. So I wasn't a terrible student. Like, if I could just focus on my classes and like really hone in on my work, I would have did very well, I believe. But like I said, I had a lot of distractions and I had things that I was still dealing with at the time. So that didn't really work out. I think I did like a year and a half, and then I had to drop out because of grades. And you know, the other reasons that you decide to drop out, I didn't have a lot of support, blah, blah, blah. So that didn't really work out. And, during that time though, I was like, okay, what else do I want to do? I don't really feel happy doing electrical engineering. So I started pursuing like theater and stuff like that, where I could be a lot more creative and express myself, because I felt really, I felt like the classes that I was taking, I was like engineering is so robotic in a way, literally and figuratively. It's pretty robotic. And so I was like, okay, I'm super smart, but I had a lot of pent up like angst and anger and sadness, and like I was just dealing with a lot of emotions, and so I needed things that I could do creatively, like, you know what I mean? I had never been in therapy or anything of that sort, so I needed to do things where I had an outlet, and music classes or theater, those were my outlets. And doing engineering classes, my sole focus was engineering, math, physics, and all of that just really took a toll on my mental health. So fast forward, those things don't work, and I go to college again a few years later, and I pursue business management or business administration or business management. That doesn't really work out, because why the hell am I doing it? Why am I going into business management? I know nothing about anything about business, investing, money, none of that. I never had those conversations with my mom. I never had those conversations in school. Like, that shit is not taught in school. So I'm doing macroeconomics, microeconomics. Again, I am a pretty great student when it comes to math. I test very well in math, but pairing it with certain, programs and courses and stuff like that confused the hell out of me if I'm not that invested into it. And I wasn't. So that went downhill very quickly as well. And then there was just a period of not being in college, which was like my last time being in college was back then, in like sit-in classes was in 2017. I ended up getting married, got divorced in 2020, ended up having kids. So during those years in between, I'm just jumping from job to job. I'm doing retail, I'm doing fast food. I worked for the dean as a secretary at one point in time. I was doing all types of jobs. You know what I'm saying? I was like a janitor at one point. I was working whatever I needed to work. You know what I mean? I never really shied away from hard work. That was never me. Like, I never shied away from hard work. You know what I mean? So the issue with me was that, again, I didn't realize that I needed some sort of outlet. I had been in such a leadership positions, since such a young age in my life, that I felt like I always had to be doing something important. Like doing theater or music, it just did not feel important. It didn't feel practical. I couldn't think of anything like hobbies and stuff like that. The thing about it is like, if I'm not doing something super serious, then I'm doing something that's completely unserious, which was like caring about attention and boys and all this stuff. Not to mention older men preying on me, like me dealing with predators since I was like 5 years old up until I had turned 18, 19. So I was just dealing with that all of the time. It was such an issue for me, bro. Okay, so fast forward. Well, today I'm realizing like, okay, I have struggled for so long because I had literally no direction. You know what I mean? Like, and this is not to bag my mom. This is not to put her down. This is not to make it seem like, oh, my life sucks because my mom didn't do this. No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. What I'm saying is that I'm able to acknowledge, like right now in the present moment, that, man, I had very little direction in my life. I was kind of just willy-nilly. I'm just here and there. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I didn't have any real direction. And like, for, let's just say, some of my friends that I had in my life. I had one friend whose parents were like entrepreneurs, so they were selling things, they were doing things like that. They both had really good jobs. And so she took after them. They had really good jobs. They worked pretty hard to keep up their household. I want to say they got divorced at one point in time, but that didn't really matter. They were both like paying bills and keeping things up, and that was that's what she had to reference. Like, she seen her parents working really hard, pursuing something, so there was some sort of goal in mind. I had another friend that was doing the same thing. Her mom, though she was a single parent, she worked her ass off, worked really, really hard to provide for her family. And so that was what my friend was able to look after. She ended up getting a job right before graduating high school, and she just had an innate work ethic. And she just had some sort of goal, not specifically the job that her mom had. That wasn't necessarily her goal, but she just knew, okay, I need to go out and get a job, or I need to do this. Like, she had some sort of clear understanding of like what direction to go in, of just any. And I just knew that for a lot of friends that I was surrounded by. Not everybody had that, but a lot of friends that I was surrounded by had that. And I just happened to be one of those people who had a parent who just grew up in the system and grew up on welfare, grew up on SNAP, grew up on benefits. And my mom worked here and there. Like, I found out later in life that she was, working at a fast food place, and I remember days that she would take us to the office when she would clean offices and stuff like that, me and my 3 other siblings. So it's not to say that she wasn't ever working, but it was never consistent. So I just, like I said, I never had any real idea of like what direction my life would go in. My life was kind of just like willy-nilly. Okay, I'm doing this right now. All right, well, if this isn't working, I'm going to go do this and this. And I just kept going back and forth. I just kept doing this, kept doing that. And I'm just kind of just trying to stay afloat at this point. And one of my biggest issues was that, like I said, being the oldest, being a caregiver at such a young age, I felt like I needed to be doing something. I felt like I just needed to be involved in something to be of any importance. Like, if I'm not, I got to be doing some sort of job. Even if I don't like it, even if that's not the direction for my life, do this job, do this career, show up, like, do something. Why that hurt me was that it did not give me a direction. I did not have a clear path of what I could be doing. I just was jumping all over the place. And I think that now I finally have been able to, like, I have hobbies. Like, there's things that I like to do. Excuse me. There's things that I like to do. And I've worked certain jobs, and I know what jobs that I actually like and don't like. But all of this has come from my own. I've had to create this type of life. I've had to create this mindset for myself. Like, it wasn't placed in front of me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a model to look after to say, okay, I want to do this like this person or do this like this person. I think the one person that I had that I kind of wanted to model after was one of my cousins, and she had graduated. I found out she graduated high school and she went into college. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she was the first person. I'm pretty sure she was one of the first persons in my family that I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually seeing her do it. And I was like, okay, she's going to high school. She graduated high school. She's going to college. Okay, I'm definitely doing that. I'm going to do that. My dad didn't graduate high school. I think he said he dropped out in the 9th grade or something like something like that. My mom, she had to go back to get her GED. And she ended up doing some college. She's in college right now, so congratulations to her. I'm holding my phone, or so I would clap. I'm super proud of her. I'm helping her with her classes. And I'm super proud of the fact that she's been able to go back in and she's working hard at creating some sort of life for herself, right? But like I said, for my own upbringing, I didn't have anything to model after, and I felt an immense amount of pressure to become something and to be somebody without proper direction. Like, it stressed me out to the point where I started to have panic attacks, to the point where I just stopped talking to people. Like, I isolated myself. I didn't want to talk to people because I just didn't feel important. And I know how, like, I've been on the receiving end my whole life. In times where I was able to help people and assist people, I did. You know what I mean? If I'm in a position to help and I can, I would. I will, and I would. But over time, when life just started really lifing for me, I realized that I had nothing to offer. When you become an adult, those little conversations that you have, like in high school, where somebody has a shoulder to cry on. Like, I tell a story all the time where there was a friend that I had. She used to get a ride from her parents every single day after school, but she had to always wait about an hour for her parents to come and pick her up. I think her mom. And I would wait after school more often than not for her mom to come and pick her up. And I would have to walk home. I would walk miles home by myself after waiting an hour outside for her. And some days she would give me a ride, but most days she would not. And I was like, things of like that sort, just, staying out there waiting for her, or like kind of listening to her vent. Those were big back in the day, back when you're in high school and middle school, like having a shoulder to cry on and things of that sort. That's helpful. Being that friend that somebody needs when they feel like they ain't got nobody. They don't feel popular, they don't feel cool, and you're that person's friend, or you're that person that they can lean on. But when you become an adult, it's about money. So if you ain't got money as an adult, you can't truly help somebody when you don't have money. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to support yourself financially so that you can help support other people financially. Because guess what? Even if you want people, say somebody lost their home, how are you able to allow that person to come stay with you when you only got a 1-bedroom? They can't even sleep nowhere. You got kids, you can't afford to help them. So I got into the position where, because I had no direction, because I jumped job from job and I didn't have any real money, I dropped a lot of my friends because I did that for them. Because I was like, I can't offer you guys anything. In fact, the only thing that's going to happen is that you guys are going to continuously have to pour into me, because I'm always in lack, because I lack direction. I knew that, but I couldn't figure out how to gain the direction. Well, guess what? A huge part of that was me having to heal, right? I had to heal. I had to work through my emotions. I had to work through, like, you guys, I feel like people, we're so judgmental as a society. We see half the country is struggling, like literally just America. We see half the country is literally struggling, and we're all just like, do better, get off your ass, stop being lazy and blah, blah, blah. Bro, people are depressed. People are literally have no direction. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't have just a little bit, first of all, let me not talk about the support. I had mad support from, a best friend in high school, friends in high school who would give me clothes and stuff like that. I had people taking care of me that shouldn't even have been taking care of me. Still got people taking care of me that shouldn't have to be taking care of me. I had people outside of family that were always taking care of me when I didn't even have the support of family itself. You see what I'm saying? Outside of my mom and my grandmother, that were like true supporters outside of friends and all that. Well, once you get past that fact, you're like, okay, well, you have to heal. You have to heal, like, the neglect, like the fact that you're not given a proper, like, foundation to start life. Like, people, I don't think people truly understand how detrimental that is. And you can say, oh my gosh, there's some, like, what's the word? I can't think of it right now, but there's some, like, star seeds. Let's call them star seeds. There's some star seeds out there that are able to go from the bottom and make it into something, right? With no direction, with no this, no that, they are able to just figure it out. But the majority of other people are hopping to hop. They're all over the place because they have yet to figure out some sort of direction of what they're going to do. And like I said, that was me. But I feel you, and I hear you, I see you, like, I understand you. Like, if you are somebody who has jumped from job to job, you've been in a space where you're like, man, it's crazy for me to not know anything, not find out anything about investing, how to pay bills, how to live, like, real life skills, not have any of that sort of information to go off of, dealing with trauma, having no true role, like, person to model life after. Like, you gotta realize how detrimental that truly is to somebody, and how hard people have to work to, like, get out of that. It literally takes decades for people to come out of that space and move into a healthy space in their life. And this is where the generational curse breakers come in, because, and I felt that, I knew that for a long time. I was like, shit is tough. Like, shit is hard. You know what I'm saying? When my friends are, first year, second year, third year college, people are in their consistent jobs, people have hobbies, people are actually able to take care of themselves, and I'm sitting in my bedroom crying, my head in my lap, the lights off, sitting in the dark, because I'm so clueless about what's to happen. I remember my mom used to talk to me about, it was like a joke almost to her, where it was just like, you may be book smart, but you're not street smart. She used to say that to me. You're book smart, but you're not street smart. But she didn't sit my ass down and talk to me street. She used to beat me like I was a person off the street, but she never taught me how to live street smart. So, feeling like you're in competition with your own mother and, not getting that right support, bro. And this, again, this is not me sitting here like, oh my gosh, my life sucks and blah, 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 blah. No, by the grace of God, I've had support my entire life that's helped me at least stay above water and even higher than that. I have had support, people supporting me that never in their life should have had to support me. Never in their life should have had to support me. I had people who have supported me in their life that could have, elevated their lives so much sooner if they had not spent a lot of their time in their life looking after me and taking care of me. That shit eats at me all the time. And I always think about, how am I going to pay this person back? Shit, I can't pay nobody back. It's taken me so long to actually get over the hump of everything that I've had to unlearn in order to get in this position so that I can actually start a life that I was supposed to start when I turned 18. Listen, this shit out here is tough. And a lot of people are going to get in their face and they're going to say, figure it out. Figure it out. You'll be all right. Figure it out. You're not a kid anymore. Figure it out. They're going to keep telling you that. People are not going to offer you jobs and like actual opportunities. People are going to give you like little support here, little support there to help you, take care of business. But it's like, bruh, until it clicks for you, you're going to struggle. Until it clicks, you are going to struggle. And it just started clicking. It just started clicking. 5 years, almost 5 years into having kids, and decades in, I'm a full-grown adult with kids. And I'm just in a space where I feel like I can actually live as a real adult, still not fully financially supporting of myself, but just in a space where I'm finally realizing, okay, this is how shit works. That's sad. I am 31. So all of those people, that's why when I see, like, I just made a video about Dante London, no disrespect to him or his girl, about their little podcasty video that they had and all that. When he talks about, I dropped from job to job and I didn't know how to do this and I didn't know this, bro, I get it. Seeing the relationship he has with his dad, sad. Seeing the relationship he has with his mom, I get it. You have to, I know for a fact, I've broken so many different curses in my life, bro. People thought I was just going to be a hoe out on the street. People thought I was just going to be out here selling my body. I had chances to sell my body. Are you joking? Are you kidding me? I had people at 12 years old offering me certain things just to take care of me, as long as I did this, and this. All the way up until I was 18. Older people, predators, offering to buy me stuff and do stuff for me as long as I did such and such. And I could not go through with it, knowing the assault that I had already endured at such a young age. I knew it wasn't right morally. I've struggled because I have wanted to make sure I kept my morality, instead of just giving myself away for the sake of. Bruh, it's hard out here when you want to keep a good head on your shoulders and you want to do shit right. It's fucking hard. But the one thing that I realized about myself is that if I'm not going to be that type of person who's going to spread her legs to get some fucking support, bro, I'm going to ask. If I need fucking help, I'm going to ask, and I'm going to get as many support as I possibly can. But I'm also going to work twice as hard in my own personal life to make sure that I do what the hell I gotta do to make sure my life is good. to make sure that the support that I'm getting from people is worth it, that I'm using it properly. Vent extension is over. About to go get my babies, go get something to eat. I hope this was something. See y'all in the next one.